This is exactly what the Buccaneers need. A new report showing how much respect the Buccaneers are getting, but also talking about what the Buccaneers need to do in order to take down the undefeated Eagles while themselves need to also remain undefeated in this massive NFC matchup, dictating a lot for the playoff seedings. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you. We're just getting ready for a big time matchup. Our feels like annual Eagles game. Mostly played in Tampa. I mean, we haven't played in Philadelphia in a while, but we're not complaining. I know they will, but Bucs fans need to show out on Sunday because Eagles fans will come in droves, and we need to make sure that they stay quiet, that they aren't heard, and that we are dominating from start to finish, and do our part as fans while the team obviously does theirs. But we got a lot to talk about today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep building this thing. We're doing a really great job right now, but I'm really excited to keep doing more stuff with memberships, live streams, all that good stuff. So all the support is really, really just exciting and helpful. But let's just jump right into it because boy, oh boy, anyway. Right now, the NFL has ranked Baker Mayfield the fifth best quarterback in the league. He's right behind Patrick Mahomes at number 4 with Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson being in front of them. But Baker is considered the last of the Tier 1 quarterbacks, according to NFL.com. And then right underneath in Tier 2 at number 6 is Jalen Hurts. So we got a big-time clash between these two quarterbacks. Baker has done a marvelous job bringing this team back at the end of each 3 games of the season so far to a win every time. 6 passing touchdowns, 615 passing yards, 0 turnovers. Just really, really remarkable stuff. Really sneakily in the MVP conversation, and really getting a lot of the respect that he well deserves. So, I mean, and just fans overall cannot be more thrilled with just what Baker has been doing for us. And then Baker Mayfield himself had to say, regarding the plan for this week and regarding just how we'll be attacking offensively. Obviously, Mike is a guy that completely changes how teams play us. He draws a lot of attention. So in the midst of a game, I did not see them adjust and adapt that much when it came to Emeka Egbuka, but we will see. Everyone has to step up. One person is not going to fill Mike's shoes, so everybody has to step up and do their role at a very high level and execute against a good ball club. So Baker's obviously talking about just the fact that this team is not going to go down quietly. The Eagles, we saw against the Rams. The Rams were dominating in the first half. They were up big, and the Eagles just they took it to another level. They don't quit. They always finish, just like the Bucs do, or at least they've been showing. So it's going to be two teams that know how to win and know how to finish games, kind of going at it and showing which one can do it better than the other. The Eagles proved that they're better than the Rams. They I think are 4-0 in their last matchups against the Rams. But the Bucs have the Eagles number, as we've talked about this week, that they've been managing to really take it to the Eagles despite injuries on both sides. Last year, obviously, they were without A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, so that limited their passing game, and we took advantage, limited Saquon Barkley, limited Dallas Goedert. Their defense were not able to do much against our offense. At one point, we took a 24-0 lead at halftime, and we were able to finish that game as well. But we're going to need a similar type of performance this week, maybe even more, because this Eagles team is a lot healthier than the Buccaneers, and that's with the possibility of Wirfs and Godwin coming back this Sunday. Those guys, they're not going to be at 100% automatically, but they will be necessary in order to win this game. Tristan said he's pain-free right now. That's really good, but we're going to need other guys to step up. Chris Godwin's not going to be an every down wide receiver. We need guys like Tez Johnson, like Emeka Egbuka, to really fill in those roles and really step up. Tez Johnson hasn't been doing too much this season yet, but we haven't really been asking him to. Sterling Shepard has been a big part of this offense and big part of just being in the clutch. But that doesn't mean that Tez won't be a factor going throughout this season. He's just got to get those opportunities and get those targets and all that, which it'll come his way. He's been very patient, just like all the other players. It's just a very, very encouraging thing to see that there's no drama, there's no divas on this team. And Scott Smith, the Buccaneers senior writer and editor, had to say Mayfield was limited in all 3 of his week's practices this week due to a right biceps injury sustained in last Sunday's win over the New York Jets. Mayfield did not miss any snaps in that game, but the team has lightened the load in terms of throwing the ball this week. He was not completely shut down from throwing on Wednesday or Thursday, but he definitely ramped up his activity on Friday, that being today. So he was, there's videos of him out there actually like throwing the ball. He has like not a sling, but like, his shoulder's a bit covered. There's like anyway, it's wrapped up a little bit to help him kind of adjust to everything regarding just how we're going to attack his injury. But he's a tough guy. He's resilient. He's really great. And I think that Baker would never mention it. It's always going to be the team themselves having to report, okay, he has like this injury that he's dealing with, and we're hoping it doesn't get any worse. We're going to need Baker to be throwing it around the field a lot. The Eagles are dealing with some corner injuries, but we're also going to need the offensive line to hold up. I think that this injury specifically might limit Baker to no deep passes. He might just be keeping it really short and medium passes, which it gives the Eagles a defensive edge in terms of, okay, like we know he's a bit limited in his throwing arm, so let's push things up. Let's stack the box. Let's like move our safeties up because we know that he won't be able to throw it past us. But maybe we're wrong. I don't mean to underestimate Baker Mayfield. That's just probably what I'm guessing the Eagles are doing to adjust to this news of Baker kind of working through an injury this week. And then Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report had to say, it's been one thing for offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard to overcome not having Wirfs, Godwin, and Jalen McMillan at the start of the season, but now he has to deal with not having the Bucs' future Hall of Fame wide receiver for the next couple of weeks. Grizzard will attempt to do something that his predecessor Liam Cohen couldn't do last year. So he's referring to the fact that the Buccaneers, they went through a stretch where it was 4 games without Godwin or Mike Evans. Godwin obviously for the rest of the year, but Evans was out it was 3 full games at least. And it was tough. We lost all those games. They were close. The Chiefs game, the Niners game, the Falcons game. That was what's like, okay, our best player wasn't on the field. It limited us, and we weren't able to finish those games. With injuries this year, especially on the offensive line, it feels like this Bucs team has taken the next step in being the next man up mentality, not letting there being any excuses, always finding a way to win. But the biggest test, because there's still doubts about this Buccaneers team going, around the nation right now, because the opponent's combined record for the Buccaneers is 1-8. Only the Falcons have won one other game. The Texans have not won a game yet, and the Jets have not won a game. So it's like there's still some doubt that this Buccaneers team is for real. There's some 3-0 teams that people still have questions about. Like the Colts, for example, the Niners, who are injury ridden themselves. The Bucs, they have a chance here to really like put their stamp. Listen, we're getting 2 of our best players back for this game, probably. Obviously it's not confirmed yet, but we're all kind of expecting it. That's the thing. We had to get that win against the Jets to let this game happen. Even with Mike Evans going down, okay, we're still loaded at receiver and getting Tristan Wirfs back. And they're saying that the reporters can't report on where offensive linemen are lining up and all that stuff. It's very telling in terms of like what is probably going to be happening this weekend. But we're all just kind of waiting for that official announcement. The green light is they're good to go, all that good stuff. So, but I'm thrilled. These guys are big time. They're a big time team. They're ready for the big games. They played in a lot of them last year, but we just weren't able to finish games. Even the playoff game against Washington that came down to the last minute, and once again we just weren't able to come up in the clutch. So it feels like we're ready this time. If it's going to be close, it's going to be crazy because both of these teams are extremely experienced in close games and finding ways to win games no matter what kind of way. So there's this idea that the Eagles, they're like, okay, we're expecting the Buccaneers to give us their best shot. We know that there's like this bit of this demon that we have to conquer, that like the Buccaneers have had our number, despite the circumstances of injuries and all that. I still think it's fun to have, this budding rivalry kind of come back a little bit, because, Bucs Eagles was a rivalry back in the day during the early late 90s, early 2000s, and now it's kind of reviving her a little bit. There's not like a ton of hatred or trash talking right now. There might be after this game, depending on how it goes. But we'll see. I'm very excited to see what the strategy will be for Josh Gazard. How much of it's going to be the running the ball, passing the ball. How good Baker's going to be able to throw the ball. All that good stuff. It's all very, very up in the air. Baker Mayfield, just talking about the team in general, he said, I felt different about this team. This year for a while now, with some of the new additions that we've had, the potential, it's also, you don't know what it is going to be until it happens. The way that this group has handled it, the way guys have been able to execute, that is huge. That is maturity, that is growth, that is guys taking what we have talked about and being able to transfer it into a critical moment. I do not know if I can put it into words how difficult that is in the heat of the moment to calmly think and execute and do the little details right. It's not like we are doing these crazy schemes in these moments. Guys are just doing the little things right and executing it. And that's really important to mention, is that these guys aren't panicking. They're seeing the moment and saying, okay, what can I do to help the team? Not how am I going to save the team? How am I going to put be a hero or put the hero pack back on? It's all about, okay, doing my part, executing my little details, and trusting that my team, even with like whatever injuries are going on, new backups that have come in, trusting that our coaches have gotten them in the right situation, told them the right thing, and just trusting that process a bit. And it's worked out so far. Obviously, these close games, we're kind of feeling like some of the Bucs fans were the cardiac Bucs. That some Bucs fans might be going to the hospital, get their hearts checked every week. If this keeps becoming the trend, it would be nice for us to get an easy win to blow out the Eagles. I don't think many people are predicting that. I don't think it's completely off the board. Just because Todd Bowles has done a really good job defensively against the Eagles, but I think with them being as healthy as they are, it's we're not going to be shutting them out probably. I don't want to say never or anything like that. It's just that being realistic, the Eagles, many people still consider them the best team in the league, and rightfully so. They've taken it to some really good teams. They've beaten the Chiefs in Arrowhead. They beat the Rams in a close game. Obviously, they struggled a bit in the first game against the Cowboys. Still won the game, but in the end, it's going to be really interesting to see how they tackle this matchup because for a while the Bucs, with Tom Brady, they struggled with the Saints for a while, and it was a really frustrating time. It felt like we just couldn't get over that hump. Besides the one playoff game that we obviously won on our Super Bowl run, but most of the time it felt like we couldn't get anything going, and I'm hoping that continues to be the case for the Eagles, where it's like, oh my gosh, every time we face the Bucs, we just can't get things going, and the Bucs are able to get to a good lead. So we have to make sure that home field advantage is a big factor. It's going to be a lot of red and green, just like it was last week. It was more creamsicle and green, but still, just got to make sure that the Eagles do not feel comfortable in this game. The Heat, they came down early to Tampa so they can acclimate to the weather better, but we'll see how much of an advantage that ends up being. I really am thinking about Rachaad White and Bucky Irving as two X-factors for the Buccaneers offense. Guys that they haven't had like massive games or anything like that. And I think that there's a chance that this game plan could feature them very heavily. A lot of screen passes and just runs, especially doing outside runs and pitches, especially now that Tristan Wirfs will be back. It'll be interesting to see how that will be brought in. Rachaad White, much more of a good pass protector and running up the middle type of runner instead of running horizontally. But Bucky, he can do it all. And I think that this game plan is going to be heavily featuring those two. Just in terms of the short and medium passing game, they will be heavily featured. But we'll see. It's just a prediction on that sense. And then regarding the defensive side of things, I also have the X-Factor player being Jacob Parrish. Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report had to say Jacob Parrish proved to be a playmaker the moment he stepped onto the field during the team's rookie minicamp, recording a pick six just moments into his first Bucs practice. Ever since the OTAs, he's been the team's starting nickelback and has had an impressive start to his rookie season. I think we can all agree Jacob Parrish has been nothing short of amazing. He just feels like he's always around the ball. He has really, really good mental skills just regarding play recognition and just jumping on top of where he knows the ball's going to be. where a player is. He got a sack against the Jets, which was really epic, and he's very much looking forward to getting his first interception. He said that he had a chance in the Texans game where he was guarding Nico Collins, wasn't able to bring it down, but he still went as a pass deflection. But it's time. I have a feeling that he is going to get his interception against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. He's ready to really study that film and make a jump on a pass that he'll be anticipating. We'll see. I could be wrong about this, but at the same time, I've just got a good feeling he has that energy. This could be really just a guy who's secretly in the defense of rookie of the year conversations, just like Emeka Egbuka is the offensive rookie of the year current leader. There's not really a clear-cut leader for defensive rookie of the year right now. Parrish, I'm just saying we could have like a Jets situation where it was like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, both rookies of the year on the same team. Maybe this happens again but this time for the Buccaneers. It'd be cool because it's been a while since we've had a rookie of the year or just one of those awards in general. So very, very interested to see how that works out. I do think it's on the table, especially if he has a good game against the Eagles. Sterling Shepard talking about Jacob Parrish. He said, "I told Parrish during the end of camp that from day one until now that he's grown light years. He just had to get used to the speed of the game, and that's usually the thing for rookies. They need to get the speed of the game down and build up their confidence. From when we started camp to when we ended camp, he's been on fire, and it's leaked over into the regular season, as it should have. I've been really impressed with the way he's been playing. I love just all this confidence, they can't stop complimenting that the way that he's been playing, just the maturity and just, how much of a veteran presence these guys are. It feels like just Jason Licht, Todd Bowles, the entire staff, they're really good at recognizing mental maturity and their ability to process the game at a fast pace and really just develop quickly as well. So I'm very excited about his potential. Bucs have been feeling a bit anxious about the corner room with, Zion just got his extension, which is really nice. It feels like he's still upgrading his skills. But the floor for Jacob Parrish seems a lot higher than maybe the other corners that we've had in the past. Because, Jamel Dean, he'll have his moments. Like he had a pick six against the Jets. That was an amazing moment. But it feels like a lot of the other times, he's getting picked on by the opposing quarterback. We'll see what happens, though. I want to, be positive about our corner room. They've been performing really, really well for the most part. But we have to make sure that, if we get a lead, we have to hold on to that lead. And we have to make sure that, the offense and the defense are working, synchronously. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's just being on the same page and, complementing each other. Winning the field position battle and not letting turnovers really dictate the game. The Bucs have been great about not turning the ball over. But it's the fact that we're in these close games despite the turnovers is still a bit of a concern, I'd say. It just really means that the offense needs to finish drives in the end zone and not just settle for field goals. The problem with the Eagles is that they are really, really good at once they get in the red zone, they finish in the end zone. And the Bucs, they're relatively, we've seen this season, they bend but don't break a lot of times. I mean, there was a couple of times where they've broken. But for the most part, they usually are good about forcing field goals. I don't love how a lot of opposing teams are starting their drives really, really well driving down the field. The first two games, both opposing teams, the Falcons and the Texans drove for a touchdown on their first drive. The Jets drove for a field goal but got pretty close into the red zone. So I'd like to see the Bucs start on a bit of a stronger note, a stronger page by holding the Eagles back and not letting them get points initially, making them feel a bit nervous about their game plan and the scripted plays in particular. So we'll see. That's just something that I thought was worth noting, is that the defense needs to start on a stronger note. And then lastly, Scott Smith, Buccaneers senior writer, had to say the Buccaneers have surpassed 100 rushing yards as a team in 11 straight games, including all 3 of this season, and they currently rank 7th in the league with 130.7 yards per game. Bucky Irving leads the way with 174 ground yards, while Baker Mayfield's scrambles have accounted for another 116. Philadelphia's defense numbers against the run are likely to improve during the season, given the presence of defensive tackles Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, but the team currently ranks 25th in that category, allowing 133.3 yards per game, as well as 27th in yards per carry, allowing 5.06 yards per carry. That's actually huge. These guys are a deadly duo, especially when both of them are healthy, which they currently are. And not to mention Sean Tucker is also available to us, who has his own explosive ability. And we talked about the running game a little bit earlier, that I think these guys could be the X factor for the Buccaneers offense. I think it's just interesting defensively wise. Philadelphia actually hasn't done that well against the run, and they haven't been going against like world breaker, running backs. Javonte Williams, bit of an older running back. He's still having a decent season, but I mean he's not like a top 10 or top 15 running back by any means. The Rams, Kyron Williams, he's pretty good. I don't want to, hate on him, but Pacheco, no one's really that scared of Pacheco. So I would say this is easily the best running back duo that the Eagles are going to face. And if they're letting up that many rushing yards, I think there's a really good chance that these guys have a good game. So, the Scott Smith had to say that, he expects the Eagles running game to improve, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will. That's just a prediction, and I'm predicting that the Buccaneers are going to take advantage of good film where they've seen how the run game has been able to take advantage of the Eagles. It's just really, can the offensive line hold up? Especially, can Tristan Wirfs really do his part and really make this offensive line a lot better, a lot cleaner, and just limiting the penalties. I do think just the refereeing in the Jets game really held the Buccaneers back, but I don't think necessarily that'll happen if Tristan's back, if Godwin's back. Guys who are experienced, guys who know not to make little mistakes. So that's what I'm expecting. They'll tone down the penalties, especially with another week of practice with whatever offensive line setup they have for this week. It's basically been a new setup every week. But we're getting wins, and we got to keep getting wins, staying undefeated. That's the most important part. And getting a tiebreaker over the Eagles this week would be massive. I can't really, emphasize how important it would be. Even just having a mental kind of advantage over the Eagles, feeling like they can't beat us. So anyway, now I want to throw it to you guys, just like talking about game plan wise, what you think is going to be the X factor, both offensively and defensively for the Buccaneers. Do you agree that you think it's going to be the running backs and Jacob Parrish? Or do you have another, do you think Godwin's going to have a bigger game than people are expecting? Do you think Tristan Wirfs is truly the X factor? I mean, he's an amazing factor. He's a big factor regardless, but is that going to be the difference maker? Do you see Baker Mayfield having some more heroics? Do you think that Baker will outplay Jalen Hurts? Do you see Jalen Hurts throwing the ball more than usual, or will they continue their running game with Saquon Barkley and try and take advantage of the fact that, the linebacking room with Sebastian Georgiev, he's not had a great season. He's really trying to, feel like catch up to the rest of the team, but do you see the Eagles maybe taking advantage of that? Anyway, I'm giving a lot of options, but I want to hear from you guys what you actually think was going to happen in this game. I'm really excited. I will be there at the game, so no live stream this weekend, but I will update, through shorts and all that good stuff while I'm there in the stadium. And then, next following week for the Seahawks game, we will be doing a live stream for that one. But anyway, very excited. Let me know your thoughts below. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next video.